everyone. It's Shamila Ramjawan on the Red Corner Chat coming to you from Johannesburg, South Africa. My guest today is Tony Oliveira de Sousa, who's an IT asset disposal consultant and a hero opposing injustice. Hello, Tony. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm very good in yourself, Shamila.
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on board and chatting to me. I'm so looking forward to this conversation, and I think most of South Africa is looking forward to this conversation today.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much. It's only a pleasure to be on here, and just thank you for obviously giving Lebo a little bit more coverage out there and just bringing the story to everyone else at the same time.
Wonderful. So before we go on to Lebo, let's talk about Tony. Who is Tony? Tell me a little bit about your background, your family, your upbringing, what you're doing now, anything that you want to share with the audience.
Okay, so basically, 27 years of age. I've got a 4-year-old child that is my absolute life. I've got an absolutely beautiful and amazing partner by the name of Taylor. She was actually there that day, and she also recorded from the car. And yeah, I'm a basic, normal, everyday kind of guy.
Wonderful. So are you from Johannesburg?
So originally, I grew up here for probably the first 6 to 7 years of my life. And I then moved to Durban. I spent majority of my life in Durban. That is basically my hometown. And then I moved to Johannesburg about 4 years ago.
Wonderful. So, Tony, you've been the talk of South Africa, videos that went viral. I watched most of the videos. I read some of the Facebook comments, with the incident that occurred the other day. I think you and our president was trending because he was trending with his iPad and you were trending with this incident. So I don't know who actually got more views on your post.
I think it's quite a little tough one day, to be honest with you. I'm just glad the story actually got out there. I was actually, to be 100% honest, I was absolutely shocked at the response that I actually got from this post. I didn't expect it to go anywhere near the amount that it did.
Wonderful. So, there's so much that we can talk about because, I watched the videos and I want you to share with the audience. I want you to share exactly what happened because, in this day and age, if we see police officers stopping vehicles and having people around them, we're actually very scared to go anywhere near. But you plucked the courage, you got out your car, you went there, you started recording. But what prompted you to do something like that?
It was actually something quite amazing. So very recently, I've actually brought God as a very big part of my life. And that day and that morning, should I say, myself and Taylor were actually just going to the shops. And funny enough, there's a shop much closer to our house, but we decided to rather go to the Caltex garage, which is a little bit further, right next to where the incident happened. And very strangely, we've actually never gone to that garage either at all. So we ended up taking the drive and we wanted to just also take a look past the park. And when we drove past, we actually saw what was going on and we saw the cops and everything that were there. And when that was transpiring, I started slowing down. And when I turned around and I saw the male officer actually lay a hand to the lady, something just clicked inside of me. I honestly think it was God speaking through me and using me as a vessel. And when I saw that, and obviously I've had a bit of traumatic experience with my father and my mother in the past, and my father was a little bit abusive to my mom as well. So I think all of that kind of played a part, and I kind of just clicked at that moment. And I literally turned to Taylor and I said to her, I was like, I can't stand for this, please. I need to stop the car. Just lock the car when I get out, because her and my son were in the car at the same time. And I also said to her, I was like, just record from your angle, just in case something happens or they try to take my phone away. And I knew immediately, like if I had to approach the situation with either cell phone or something along those lines, it probably could have gone in a much different manner. And I think that's probably also one of the things that ended up saving me. But I just saw that and I couldn't stand for it. I mean, at the end of the day, men today need to actually learn to be an example to women and actually help bring women up. You shouldn't be bringing them down, and you should never, ever be laying a hand to a woman. And that's actually what ended up making me click. And I got out, and all I was trying to do is actually just try to disperse the situation, try to calm the situation, find out exactly what was going on, because it wasn't the first time that I've seen Lebo. It was the first time that I've ever actually communicated with her. But I often see Lebo there on the side, and she's one of those very nice ladies. She's not one of the people that come up to your car or hound you to come look at their product or beg you for money or beg you for support. She literally just sits on the side of the road with her beds and lets her product speak for itself. So when I saw all of that transpiring, it really did shock me. And I just wanted to find out what was going on and try to assist her in any kind of way possible. And I just need to say a big ups to the community, because as soon as I actually started standing up there, I mean, very quickly, within like a few minutes, I had like a whole crowd behind me actually fighting for Lebo at the same time. So really, really proud of the rest of the guys who also stood up. And it just shows that there's actually some hope out there for South Africa.
I saw that. Well, I saw that in the video footage, which, like I said, has gone viral. It's even now trending on WhatsApp as well. So, yeah, I've been receiving it from a few people as well. And we know that most street vendors, they provide the main source of income for their households, bringing food to their families and paying school fees, etc. And here Lebo is, selling the, is that the dog beds?
Yes, it's different. It's dog and cat beds, basically. So she has like different sizes and everything. And I must say, for anyone who actually wants to go have a look, they are truly amazing quality. It's not like this China Wall or things that you get. Not that there's anything wrong with China Wall before I have anyone bashing me about China Wall, but it really is truly amazing quality. And she makes it by hand. So, it's her only source of income. And I take my hat off to her and every other hawker that sits out there or vendor that sits out there. Because, I mean, in these times today, it's already hard with COVID and everything else going on. And they're just trying to provide for their families. And for them to actually be sitting on the side of the road and trying to make an honest living, I take my hat off to them completely. Because, I mean, there could be other measures they could be taking, which could put all of us in danger. But instead, they rather choose to live a good life and an honest life.
Yes, for sure. And I did pick up that she's been doing this for over a year at the same spot.
Yeah, actually over 2 years at the same spot. So
Wow.
from what I've actually heard is it was actually the president of that community, from the Yaksay Park community, who started initiating these cops to go around and go out there. So he commented originally on my post. He's actually deleted his comments ever since, because I think people obviously started commenting against it. But he actually apparently called out the cops to go there, or started asking the cops to go there, which, like I even said when I commented back to him, I said, in these times today, we shouldn't be chasing those people away. I mean, there's so many more people out there on our roads. For Yaksay, for example, along the riverbed, there's people who sleep along the river, and those are the people who are actually breaking into people's houses and obviously causing harm. For the people who are sitting on the side of the road just trying to earn an honest living, I think we should actually be trying to help them more than anything else, not try to chase them away, and more so not try to take their goods away. I mean, that was the biggest shock to me out of everything, to be honest. Never mind the abuse and everything, but we should start showing compassion towards these people nowadays.
Yes, for sure. Well, that's the risk they actually face when they don't have licenses. And obviously, Lebo doesn't have a license, so that is why they acted the way they did. And, I must reiterate, because I see on social media some people are referring to them as the South African Police Services, but it's actually the Johannesburg Metro Police that did this. Yeah, so I just want to clarify that with the audience. Tony, in terms of her having a license, now you say she's been on that street or that spot for over 2 years. Did anybody actually go to her? I'm talking now about the JMPD at any point and tell her or ask her to show her permit or offer assistance in getting one? Did she mention anything of that sort to you?
So the president again of the Yaksay community turned around and he said that he has tried to assist her getting a vending license. But when I asked Lebo about it, she actually turned around and she said no one's ever approached her asking to help her get a vending license. Lebo did turn around to me and say that she did attempt to get a vending license. But however, I think the law is quite flawed in this aspect. So I'm not too sure how well familiarized you are with vending licenses and the hawkers licenses and everything else. But what the Johannesburg Metropolitan actually does is they give a license, but they also stipulate where that person needs to be. And where they wanted to place her was actually in a drug-infested area where there was just criminals and everything else, where there was no chance of her obviously selling a bed. And I mean, where she was positioned, it was at a dog park, number one. So obviously she's already business-minded in that aspect, positioning herself in a correct manner. And, I just think in that area, the bylaws need to be a little bit altered. And I think we should start trying to help them a little bit more. But for that specific instance, they came up to her, they asked her for her vending license. Apparently they had been there before. I'm completely speaking under what I've been told. Okay, so not from my own point of view here. They had been there before, and they do come and they start harassing them for bribes. Unfortunately for Lebo that day, is they came and they asked her for a bribe and she hadn't sold a bed yet. She was actually pleading to them saying, please, the 2 beds that they actually took, which if you see in the original video, were actually sold to another lady. That lady actually ended up commenting on my post saying, and even saying, I came back later that day. I said to her that I wanted to buy 2 beds and I came back and she wasn't there. So, and she even said, now this explains why she wasn't there. Now, with that speaking, it's not right for Lebo to obviously turn around and pay a bribe. But in these times, when you're obviously having people using their authority and using, should I say, the badge to be corrupt in that instance, when you're suffering and when you're financially struggling, I mean, you're going to try to do anything you can. So she shouldn't have been trying to pay a bribe. They shouldn't have been trying to solicitate a bribe from her neither at the same time. So, you know, on that aspect, it's a sad situation. And honestly, I just really wish that anyone who's watching, even to the rest of the JMPD officers, I think we should start looking and trying to be more compassionate. I mean, they could have given her a warning. They could have asked her, rather pack up your stuff, go somewhere else, and obviously try assist in that manner. It should never, ever have gotten to the point that it got to.
I so agree with you. I think, you know, they should have confronted her at the very outset and offered help. And, you know, in this day and age, we all want to offer assistance and help, especially the startup entrepreneurs, because it's honest living. If you look at it, she's not doing anything. And if you look at the criminals that are lurking around out there. But just on that, I believe you've now taken the stance and you're helping her to get that license.
Yes, so we are attempting to get a license. What you call it, I have been a little bit inundated of work myself. So the delay in getting her beds has been a lot of my part and her part, because we're trying to obviously work at getting our schedules to align with each other. So tomorrow afternoon, we're actually going to go through and get the beds. And as soon as we've got the beds, we're going to actually get her a vending license. But I must say, there's a big ups to the NGO Pay It Forward. They've actually gone a little bit a step forward, and they've actually organized a store at basically like a pet market, if I can call it such. Okay. And she's actually going to be staying there where she can store her products, number one. She has access to actual like toilets and things along those lines. And it's a much safer environment. So we're looking at predominantly placing her there, and hopefully that's going to be her new spot moving forward. But if not, then yes, we're going to carry on trying to get her the vending license and keeping her within that spot at the same time.
Wonderful. Wow. Well done to you guys and everybody that's coming on board and assisting. But just on the goods that we confiscated, did you manage to get that back?
So we're going there tomorrow to get it back. We're first going to try to challenge the authenticity of the actual, the fund, because if you we'll actually see that the fund good abandoned, which obviously looking at the videos, the goods were not abandoned. Try waiver the fine in that aspect based on the authenticity of the fine. If not, then we're just going to try pay the fine and get her dog beds back in that aspect.
Okay, what is Lebo doing about this? Is she taking this any further? Do you know? Yes. Have you been in touch with her with regards to that?
We've actually been in touch on a regular basis. I must say, she's phoned me about 2 or 3 times a day. She's honestly such a sweet lady. She's thanked me numerous times. And I've even said to her, please don't thank me. It was all God's work that was happening. I just want to say a big ups to South Africa, because the show of support that has actually come through to her has been, when I mean amazing, it is truly amazing. She's sitting on currently like 100 orders for dog beds, which is fantastic. She's never had such a response.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. She was actually even saying she doesn't even sell that in a year, and yet within a week she's actually got people paying her already to actually get her these dog beds, which is incredible. She's had a lot of anonymous donors to sending her e-wallets, sending her money vouchers, sending her food vouchers. So the response from South Africa is truly incredible, and it actually shows me that there's actually still hope for us out there. I mean, in such a divided country that we are at the moment, it's nice to see South Africa unifying behind one person to try and support them. And I must say, that's the biggest blessing out of this whole thing. And it's so nice to see such a tragedy turn into Lebo's biggest blessing yet.
That is awesome. Thank you to everyone that's helping Lebo. I think there's so many people out there that we can also assist, and maybe just, you know, get them to apply for the vending license, vendor licenses, and you know, let them be legal, because we want to grow them. You know, this informal sector, they provide such an income and also services to people like us. So we want to grow them as well as individuals, because they have bills to pay. They have families to see to. I mean, I heard Lebo's husband, he was also quite frantic in the video. And, I mean,
So that's actually Lebo's brother. So actually, sorry, I was also that day I also thought it was her husband, but it's actually her brother. Yeah. So Lebo's actually a single mother. She's got 2 children of her own, and then her sister passed away quite recently. So she's actually responsible for looking after 6 children at the moment. So that's where the saddest part of this whole thing came in, because even when I spoke to her about the vending license, the cost of the vending license, number one, is exorbitant, if you do ask me, in my honest opinion. I mean, these are people that are earning 20, 50 Rand on an item that they're selling, if they are lucky, number one. So to pay for that license is exorbitant. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to give, just putting myself in that situation, if you're going to give me a choice between either putting food on my table or paying for a license, I'm definitely going to choose putting food on my table for my family. And I think that's where the biggest problem is. And, I've actually had a few people reaching out to me. I don't know if it's JMPD going on now trying to enforce bylaws, but there's actually been a lot of vendors within the Olivedale, Yakse, and Four Ways community who are right now getting harassed and getting their items confiscated left, right, and center. I mean, I heard a story today about a man who's been on the side of the road selling roses and stuff along those lines for the last 20 years. And the cops came today and confiscated every single one of his items that he did have. And I mean,
shame.
in these times, we shouldn't be doing that.
It's
so sad.
very,
And I think,
very
honestly,
sad. But did you guys actually take it up with the JMPD? Anything on that side?
yes, so Lebo went there on Monday. She constantly kept on phoning me to inform me. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there with her at that time. And apparently one of the JMPD officers turned around to her and actually said, no, they've got footage showing that we were actually only on her side and that we were in the wrong and everything else. So Lebo said, okay, can you show me this footage? Because, we've got 2 different videos from 2 different angles altogether. So we'd really like to see where this other footage is coming from. And all they could say to her is, no, you have to wait until next week, Monday. So we're going to go back there next week, Monday. I'm actually going to go with her this time, and we're actually going to try to find out exactly what's going on. I see JMPD's issued out a statement, obviously that they launched an internal investigation into it. What has come from it, to be honest, I'm not too sure.
Okay. Tony, thank you so much for that. But you know what my biggest concern was when I looked at this the footage as well? I thought of COVID. At that moment, I don't think anybody thought about COVID. Right now, Gauteng, we are in dire straits. There's no resources, there's no hospital beds, and here we have a crowd of people gathering alongside the road, and the police officers were there. Some of them didn't have masks on. How did you feel at that time? Because I mean, I would be scared. Right now we are in my house, we are on lockdown 5. We just don't go anywhere. But here now, there's just so many people around. There's no mask. There's touching. There's holding. There's lugging. There's pulling, pushing. How did you feel about that?
In that moment, I must be honest, I think COVID was very much one of our least priorities. We were honestly just worrying about level there. One of the police officers, actually the lady officer, for much of the video, if you look very closely, her mask actually wasn't covering her nose. It's why I started pinpointing on that as well at the same time. So I think that was also a big part. But it's so nice to see that even during a pandemic, I mean, everyone kind of put the pandemic aside, and we kind of focused on level, and that was it. I know it's not really the best thing to do during these times, but it was nice to also see that, people still cared. And even though there's a global pandemic coming out, they came out. I must say, there's also one point that I'd actually like to raise, and it was a lady who reached out to me. She also lives in Yakse Park. You obviously saw the police presence that arrived for the one vending lady. Am I right?
Yes, I did.
Now,
I think there were 10 police officers and 5 vehicles.
I think it was about 15 and 4 vehicles. Yeah, it was absolutely...
Goodness.
It was amazing to see how we actually have a police force when they need it. But here's the sad thing. A lady 4 houses down was actually broken into at that exact moment while that was going on. And do you know that she only got seen to by police officers 4 hours later? Now, that is where the scary part is, and it comes in for me, is that how can the police arrive within a few minutes just for some little vending lady, but yet when we actually need them to come and help us, when there's someone breaking into our house, when there's actually a tragedy where they should be getting involved, there's no show of police force.
Okay, I think there's a difference there with SAPS and the JMPD as well. So that could be totally different. But yes, I did see the vehicles. I did see the number of police officers that were there from the traffic department. And in this day and age, we're trying to fight off the bogus cops as well. That's rife at the moment. So yes, it was quite alarming to see all these police officers just come there for one incident where a vendor was trying to make a living.
And one of the, like you mentioned, they're Metro cops. Yet one of the licenses was completely expired. I actually only noticed afterwards because I had a few people actually phoning me and saying, have you seen the licenses from the videos that you took? And I went back and I actually had a look, and truth God, one of them actually expired in January this year. And I mean, we're sitting in what, June now? Basically towards July. So 7 months that the license this has been expired.
Wow. I'm lost for words. I actually don't know what to say. Okay. So
the irony is real, should I say.
Yes. Tony, where to from here? I know you're doing a lot to help labor, which is fantastic. How does your girlfriend feel about this? Because you're such a hero, South Africa's hero right now.
Honestly, a lot of people have been calling me a hero. Honestly, I just honestly see myself as a normal, everyday guy. I've had a lot of people accusing me that I did this for attention and for fame. I mean, if you know me and if you're part of my friends and my family, and even if you go through my Facebook and you go through my Instagram, I mean, I think on my Instagram, I've got 4 pictures in my whole entire lifetime of being on Instagram. I'm not a person that's out there for fame. I'm not a person that's out there for attention. I was literally just standing up for level. But, you know, I think I've got a calling coming in, and I actually have been in touch with a few people, and I'm looking at actually starting up like a little NGO or kind of an organization in a way where I can try to be the voice of the voiceless, and if I can call it that. And I want to actually try start standing up for people who are having these injustices done, and that's what I'd like to try attempt to do. My girlfriend is fully behind me. I mean, she's absolutely incredible. She really is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I honestly wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for her. She truly is a godsend. And even with this idea, I brought it up to her, and she even said, you know what, you're getting a massive Facebook following at the moment. Use it for good. Go out there, look for people who are actually looking for help, and help some people out. And so I'm going to try slowly. I'm going to try see how it goes. You know, I'm already involved and have been involved in feeding organizations and feeding programs to try to go out there and try help people. And I want to just try to take it a step further and just try help people a little bit more. I know I have been reached out by a few people as well, sending me some police videos of assault, harassment, and everything else along those lines. So I want to take it step by step, but I'd like to actually try keep this momentum going as well at the same time, and just try help as many people as possible, to be honest.
Well done. Congratulations. Well, I just want to tell you, I am the country director for South Africa for the International Youth Society, as well as the national president for South Africa for the IYS, and you automatically get a spot in my executive committee.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So you have lots to, I know you can, portray a great image to the youth out there and convey great messaging with the gentleman that you are. Applaud you. Well done on what you've done. South Africa needs more people like you.
100%. And I just want to say to everyone out there in South Africa, don't be scared when someone's there, you see some injustice going on. I mean, if you're just going to walk past or drive past, this country is never going to change. And unfortunately, we are such a divided country. I mean, I've had so many people coming on there and saying, if it was white cops, would you have stopped? Well, I'm just telling the whole South Africa, yes, I would have. I wouldn't care if the person was purple, never mind. If someone is doing injustice to someone else, as human beings, we need to stand up for one another. Like in the Bible, it even says we're all brothers and sisters. We're all God's people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter about color, it doesn't matter about religion, and it doesn't matter about age. And the only way this country is actually going to change to become the right country that it needs to be, what Nelson Mandela actually first set up to make this country, is if we all actually unify and forget the race card, forget all the racism, not forget the past, because obviously the past is what's made us into what we are today. But we need to stand up as one nation and actually change it for the better.
Love that. I love that messaging. We are one nation. We need to bring in the unity. We have such a beautiful country. We need to treasure that and just, love our people. That's all we ask for. Love everybody.
No, 100%. I mean, at these times more than ever, especially during COVID, if we don't love each other, we don't show love. I mean, it's something that someone told me also the other day. You never know when someone's at their darkest. You never know when someone's at their lowest. And you could be either the make or the break. What you say to them or what you do for them could either break them, it could force them to commit suicide, or not force them, but you could actually be that final push, or you could be the final lift up. And I think that's what we all need to realize. And as South Africans, we need to stand together. That's all I can say. And we need to try to show love, compassion as much as possible. So our police force out there, please, I'm not after you guys. All our hope is that you guys can also take, and this is to JMPD, SAPS, to the whole police force. Let's start showing some compassion, and let's start looking and thinking, what about if that was your mother, if that was your father, brother or sister? would you want that to happen to them at the end of the day? And I think everyone would answer no. And I think we need to just start trying to, as much as the law is the law, we need to try being a little bit more compassionate with certain laws at the end of the day.
I think it's being compassionate and also being respectful. We need to start respecting other people as well. Tony, just in closing, it's Youth Month still. What is your message for the youth out there?
Yes, for the youth out there, all I want to say is don't look at the past and start getting a resentment and a hatred. We have too many politicians out there who are actually forcing hatred and forcing separation out there. I think for every single person out there who is young and inspiring, be the best person that you can be. In every situation, ask yourself, what could you have done better? And I think that's the only way that you're going to be able to be a better person. And look out for God. Look for God in your lives, because he will honestly change your lives. And this is to Christians, to Muslims, to Hindus, to every religion out there, whatever you might be supporting or whatever your faith might lead you to. Look up to it, because every single religion out there at the end of the day teaches peace, love, and that is the main things that we need to have for each other, and compassion. If we look out for each other and we follow those principles, we'll all just be better human beings.
What a great message to end the show. Thank you, Tony Oliveira de Sousa, for coming on board and chatting to us and sharing your experience. And I'm sure that we're really going to work together, and South Africa is going to work with you as well. Let's show unity, everybody. And if you would like to be on the Red Corner Show and share your stories as well, please contact me on the redcornershow@gmail.com. Thank you, audience. You've been great. And until we meet again, take care. Bye.